What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Videohomicide, back with day 27 of the 31 Days of Horror. Today we're going to talk about a film from 1985, directed by Stuart Gordon. We've got none other than the Reanimator, or just Reanimator rather. H.P. Lovecraft's Reanimator, to be precise. This is a movie that I didn't discover until the days of YouTube, and that's what makes YouTube sort of unique and very helpful in terms of finding new films, because once I first got onto YouTube and I would watch people's lists of their favorite horror films and shit like that, and this movie was almost always on the list. And I remember thinking, God damn it, I fucking gotta check this flick out. So got a copy of it, watched it, and fell in love, man. This is great. So if you've not watched Reanimator, it's basically your standard horror film of that time, but with all the comedy sort of removed and just left in there via these funny one-liners and stuff like that. It's not chock full. It's not Evil Dead 2, and it's not Return of the Living Dead, but it's definitely got some moments in there in here that crack me up for sure. This is also an amazing poster art, really cool graphic. Highly recommend checking this flick out. So, some of my favorite moments in Reanimator. Well, pretty much the whole fucking thing, but one of my favorite moments isn't even really a horror moment, but I just love when Stuart Gordon, Herbert West, played by Jeffrey Combs, is breaking those pencils every time that doctor's talking, to fuck with him because he doesn't believe in his, his lecture or whatever it was he was talking about. Really like that stuff. The horror in this movie is pretty much sprinkled all throughout. Basically, Herbert West is this medical student that's developed this green shit that when you inject into a dead body, it brings them back to life. And this, the fast, if a person dies and you immediately inject him with this stuff, he still might be able to come back with speech and different things like that, like we get with the fucking sort of asshole doctor near the end of the film. When he gets his head cut off, he can still talk and all that stuff, and he's very perverted and shit. That stuff's kind of funny, but for the most part, it's just sort of a lot of back and forth between Herbert West and his medical student roommate, and his girlfriend's actually dating the dean of the medical school. So he's trying to be on his best behavior, and then he's got this guy, fucking Herbert West, being a total piece of shit and doing all kinds of gross stuff with experiments and shit. So there's the moment where he's in the basement and the cat's gone missing, and Herbert West has the cat in his fridge, and the fucking roommate goes, "What? So what, man? You're just gonna not tell me about my dead cat?" And Herbert West has the best response ever. He goes, "Well, what do you want me to do? Leave a note that says cat dead, details later?" I remember the first time I watched that I might have actually heard that line before I actually watched the film, which it isn't always a good thing. But I mean, when it happened, I was really happy about it because I think it's funny. And then I love that whole scene with them trying to wrangle the cat, and for some reason, that part in the film reminds me of the movie Maniac. Not Maniac with Joe Spinell or the one with Elijah Wood, but the one that came before that is sort of like a take on the I forget the name of that story, the Black Cat or some shit like that. But there's a scene where an eyeball comes out. It's fucking crazy. I think it's from about between 1934 and 1940 something, maybe. Check that shit out. I got a copy of it. Maybe I'll do a review on that. But that's a must watch. But with this film, they get around to finally injecting some actual bodies with this stuff, and all of them sort of have different takes. At one point, there's it kind of actually does remind me of a scene from Return of the Living Dead, that yellow guy with the headless yellow guy, whatever, kind of just swinging around. There's a moment like that takes place in a morgue where there's another guy that, he's all bruised up, and the makeup effects are great in this film. Who the fuck did the makeup effects? I wonder if this says. Probably not. Oh, special makeup effects by Anthony Dublin and John Nolan. And additional makeup effects by John Boucher. Anyways, I love the makeup effects on the Dean when they inject the Dean with the stuff, and he comes back and he's just fucked and just disgusting and drooling, and everything about that is awesome. Of course, the sort of show-stopping moment in this film, of course, is when the asshole doctor that's blackmailing Herbert West gets his head cut off, gets himself injected with the serum, and then is trying to steal the trying to steal the discovery for his own, which is always a scummy thing to do. But man, I'll be the first to admit, like, it's not my favorite horror film of all time, but it's definitely, I would say, on the top 100 list. And I know that's like a big list, but I've seen a lot of really good films, a lot of movies that I like more than Reanimator. But you know, I definitely like Reanimator more than From Beyond. That's a fact. I'm trying to think of a couple of other Stuart Gordon films. I can't really think. I don't think he had anything to do with Return of the Living Dead 3. I think that was Brian Usna. But I think Stuart Gordon might have had something to do with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which is like fucking random as all hell, but what do you know? Yeah, man, I think that's pretty much all I can say about Reanimator. I really like the film, and there's 2 sequels that you should probably check out as well. I think I checked out Bride of Reanimator, or maybe it was Beyond Reanimator. I think it might have been Beyond Reanimator, because I found that at a thrift store, and I thought that I like struck gold, because that was back in the era when I was still finding like really good stuff at the thrift stores, you know. Nowadays it's just a bunch of shit. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people out there looking for the same stuff as me, and they're willing to devote their whole fucking existence to going to thrift stores and shit and just finding 50 copies of Pulp Fiction and selling them online for $17.99. So anyways, I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure you leave a 666 in the comments. Long live Reanimator. And with that being said, adios.